Hello everyone, and welcome to my latest video for the introduction of a new character for Marvel Puzzle Quest. This time, the new character is Carnage. He is a 4-star character, legendary, Cletus Cassidy. He's most famous from the Maximum Carnage comic run in the 90s with Spider-Man. It was a crossover comic in which Carnage basically went around killing everyone. So this is a pretty powerful and unique character. So first off, let's just look at his cover, which I think this cover is pretty cool, although I liked a couple other ones more in the Maximum Carnage series, but it shows just how powerful he is that he has everyone in his grasp. So Cletus Cassidy was a murdering thief, and that was before he became one of Spider-Man's most fearsome foes. When the alien symbiote busted Eddie's Brock out of jail, it infected his cellmate Cletus, transforming him into the bloodthirsty Carnage. By himself, Cletus was a psychopath. Together with his symbiote, he's so much worse. So, this character is a 4-star, and he has 15,573 health. And his attack strength is in order red, black, and then green. Now, I just want to mention something about his health before I get on to the other skills he has. So he has 15,000 health. That's I think the second highest health in the game after Hulkbuster and Devil Dino. Let's just take a quick look. That's 15,000. So Invisible Woman has less. Elektra has less. Hulkbuster has more. Kingpin has the same amount. So Thoris, Hulkbuster, yeah, so he has the second highest health in the game. After the Hulkbuster and Thoris characters. So it does seem very high. But, as we'll mention later, he does a lot of moves which will hurt both himself and his teammates. Especially his teammates. So that health, as high as it might seem, is really not so great in a long match. It's okay for a regular PvP match, or even a PvE match, but if you're going to be doing a survival node, I would not recommend him, because he's going to kill himself and his teammates. So let's talk about his skills. So his very first skill is a red skill. It's Symbiote Scythe. So, and that is how you pronounce it. I looked it up on dictionary.com. It's not Scythe, it's Scythes. Bit hard to say, but this is a 7 AP red skill. Carnage attacks viciously and indiscriminately, clawing and slashing in every direction. So at 3 covers, this deals 2,116 damage to the target and 994 damage to all other allies and enemies. So that means that if you have your main target, you're going to do 2,116 damage to him. If he has 2 teammates alive still, you're going to be doing 994 to each of them, which would mean a total of 1,988 damage to the other 2 guys, which would mean the entire damage to the enemy team will be 4,104 damage, if all the enemies are alive. But you're also going to attack your own teammates. Carnage doesn't hurt himself, but he does hurt his teammates. So you're also going to be doing 1988 team damage. So that's going to come up with really only a net gain of that targeted damage of that 2,116. So for single matches, if you were, say, just planning to use only Carnage, then that skill would be okay because he doesn't hurt himself. So you don't really mind if you hurt your teammates, if you use a loner or a weaker character. But if you're trying to climb up the ladder in PvP for a long time, or use him in multiple matches with powerful teammates, then that's going to do significant damage over time to your team. The actual net damage you're doing to the enemy over your own team is much smaller than it would look at first. But this skill does get quite a bit stronger as you level up. Once you've got 4 in red, you're now doing 3,075 damage to the target and 1,446 damage to the other characters. So that means you're going to be doing a total of 5,967 damage to the enemy team if all of their teammates are alive. And at 5 covers, you're going to be doing 4,903 damage to the target and 1,808 damage to the other allies and enemies, which means a total of 8,519 damage for a 7 AP move. That is the strongest move in the game if you're just looking at straight damage output. If you compare it from level 3 to 4, you're getting 1,863 more damage. From 4 to 5, you're getting 2,552 more damage. And from 3 to 5, that's 4,415 more damage. So you are doing 1217 damage per AP. That's the highest in the game that I am aware of. So that's just, and it's at a low AP amount too, so you're almost guaranteed to set that off. Whether it's on defense or if you just go into the match, you can just boost +2 red and +2 all, and boom, 8,000 damage to the enemy team. So that's definitely going to be at 5 covers if you have a choice for what the best build is. Definitely would have 5 in red. The damage to your own team, though, is very significant to consider, especially if you're trying to climb up in PvP. Even in PvE, it's just such a huge amount of damage you're going to be doing. If you just use that move 2 times, you're already going to be doing 3,600 damage to your own team. And as we'll look at his black skill next, that's not good, because his other move, black, is also going to be doing damage to his own team. So I think that it's a very powerful move, and on the forums, the first reaction people had when they saw this was, wow, that's way too much damage, this character is overpowered. But in a vacuum, yes, he is overpowered, because you can, in theory, if you want to pay to win, just keep using health packs. But in PvE, the self-damage in a higher scaled node is going to kill his own team from black and red. And in PvP, you can't really climb that much without using health packs. So unless somebody's going to spend a lot of money on health packs, then I don't think you have to worry about this character being overpowered. But he is very strong, especially if you just need to do 1 or 2 matches and then shield up, or if you have one PvE node that you need to do and just need to win that one node. He's not good for continuous play. So let's look at his black skill next, Alien Instincts. Carnage's alien symbiote keeps him in a constant frenzy. Whenever a power is fired, Carnage creates 2 friendly strength 103 attack tiles and 2 enemy strength 90 attack tiles. So this is a passive skill. It activates whenever a power is fired. Now, when it says whenever a power is fired, I think one thing to note is that countdown tiles created by the AI, like goons, do count as a power. However, seeing as how the goons like to create more than one countdown tile at a time, that only goes off once. So if you have a turn where the goons create 4 countdown tiles, this skill's only going to go off once. However, against a regular opponent that has separate skills activating at different times, that would go off multiple times. So and I also want to make sure that it's clear that this is an attack tile, which is that fist symbol, so that you're getting punched basically by these tiles every turn. It's not a strike tile, the sword tile, where you do extra damage. per every match or attack move. So don't get that confused, because I know some people were thinking that you could just steal those tiles with Electra. So that's not the case. These are attack tiles. So at 4 in black, it's now going to be doing 114 for friendly. The enemy strength tiles do not go up. That is something to think about when considering the ultimate build. And at 5, he's doing 137 friendly per strength per friendly tile. So basically, you have at level 3, you have 206 friendly and 180 enemy attack tiles. At 4 at covers, you're going to be having 228 friendly, still 180 enemy. And at 5 covers, you have 274 strength attack tiles at 5, and you only have 180 for enemy. So that's seeing a total of 68 more damage per set of attack tiles between 3 and 4. So at my first thought upon seeing this power is that the difference between the friendly and the enemy attack tiles is not large enough to justify giving up the green, which we'll get to in a moment, because it's really only an extra, not even 100 damage more a turn at 5 covers. But when I actually played the game with him, I realized that, hey, this is not just going off once or twice. You could have 10, 15 tiles on the board going off every turn. So the difference in damage does add up very quickly if you're going to be in a prolonged match against higher health characters. However, you will be killing yourself a lot more often anyhow if those go off. So ultimately, we're going to talk about green some next, but ultimately I still think it's better to have it at 3, because you don't want matches lasting that long with Carnage, just because of the high amount of self-damage, and you want Carnage himself to get as little damage, because his red doesn't hurt himself, but it does hurt his teammates. So you can still conserve health packs if you're only using his red. But if you have black going off, Carnage will get hurt, and that 15,000 health will quickly go down. But let's take a look at his green skill, Carnage Rules. So this is 11 AP, which is a lot of AP, but it's kind of random about how useful it is, because in theory, this skill is basically going to be like the Juggernaut move, the Juggernaut Green, which is only 6 AP, with an upside to do damage. So this is Carnage unleashes a torrent of piercing tendrils, destroys 10 random tiles, this is at 3 covers, dealing an additional 452 damage for each special tile destroyed. Does not generate AP. So this is at 3 covers. So that's 10 tiles destroyed, 452 per special tile destroyed. That's 4,520 maximum damage that you can do from this move, in addition to whatever damage is done from the tiles being destroyed that are not special, and the Cascade Potential. So first off, Cascade Potential, 10 tiles, that's pretty good. It's about 2/3 as much as X-Force does at max. So even at 3, the Cascade is decent, but it's more AP by quite a bit. The damage amount, it's not likely that you're going to actually get 10 special tiles with the 10 random tiles that you're destroying. So the actual damage is not likely to be that much. You might only get 1,000, and that really depends a lot on which characters you bring with you and how many moves have been used to that point, so that Alien Instincts can go off a bunch. So let's look at 4 covers. So at 4 covers, it's now 12 random tiles destroyed and 560 damage per special tile destroyed. So in theory, the maximum of this is 6,720 damage. So it doesn't really destroy that many more tiles, but the damage does go up by 2,200. And at 5 covers, you've now got 16 random tiles being destroyed at 651 damage per special tile, which means a maximum damage of 10,416. So you've got now 3,696 more damage from 4 covers, maximum. And from 3 to 5, that would mean a total of 5,896 more damage potential. Now, this is just potential damage. However, you're also just destroying more tiles in general. So overall, this move really gets a lot more benefit, I think, from the extra tiles being destroyed. So even though you could have a lot more damage from the attack tiles if you were to have more black, I think just the Cascade Potential combined with the potential to destroy more tiles with this move, combined with having such a huge difference in damage potential between 3 and 5 covers, I think that it's essential to have 5 in green. People could make an argument for having 5 in black if you were perhaps wanting to use him as a more defensive character to scare people away, but I don't think that that's really worth it. Most people aren't going to check which covers are at 5 when they're finding an opponent, and they're not going to say, oh, well, just because they get a couple extra more damage a turn, I'm going to avoid Carnage. People are going to avoid Carnage in PvP regardless, but so let's just give a quick overview then now, again, of all of his skills. So I think that you really want to have 5 in red. That's his big damage move. It's guaranteed damage, does a lot of damage, low AP. I think that goes without, it'll scare enemies off if you're putting him on defense in PvP. So I think that red 5 covers goes without saying. I think some people might have different opinions, but I think overall the difference in damage, unless the match goes on for a long time, which you don't want it to with Carnage, then there's no reason to have 5 black. And I think that basically leaves green with having 5. So that's the ideal build, in my opinion. 5 red, 3 black, 5 green. I think that he is a good character. He has a huge amount of damage potential, but he will churn through health packs very quickly, for his teammates definitely, and even for himself. If you look at the health that I started this match with, you saw that he was basically down to around 3,000 health maybe. That was after doing the Deadpool daily survival node. Okay, so he did almost around 9,000 or so damage to himself in that Deadpool daily, which is pretty large. He also had 2 other characters almost get killed, including Hulkbuster. So I'm gonna be showing you a match with him next, but I think that it's really, people are getting very worked up on the forums about how he's so strong. But I think when you actually play with him, you will see that yes, he is strong, but he's just not overpowered because of these drawbacks. The only concern is that people that are going to spend money on the game are going to buy health packs repeatedly to abuse his high damage powers, which that is an issue, but I don't think it's something that really needs to be worried about, because not that many people will do that. So now that we've gone over the character himself, I just want to show you some videos of what his moves look like, and then we'll move forward. Okay, everyone, let's see Symbiote Scythe in action. Pretty powerful, as you can see, and that also activates immediately Alien Instincts. And because I have Kamala on my team, I healed up 700 of that damage that was team damage. Well, 487. I guess I currently have her at only 3 in yellow. I think you would actually want her to have 5 in yellow if you used her with Carnage, but we'll talk about that next. Okay, let's see Carnage rules now. So I don't have that many tiles on the board, but there's still a decent amount. So let's see what it looks like. So that did 2,577 damage. So it's really, I wouldn't expect it to do the max damage almost ever. We're going to look at character combinations next, but I think in most cases you're just not going to see that much damage from the green, but you'll see some good shake-up potential. So let's get back to looking at character combinations next. By the way, I think that Carnage has the best artwork in the game so far. Also of note, Carnage heals faster because of his symbiote powers, just like Spider-Man does and Wolverine. So what are the best teammates to use with Carnage? So I think that right now you're seeing the definite best ultimate setup. It's going to be Carnage, as I said, his ideal build at 535. You're going to have Hulk, Buster, Iron Man. So you're going to want him at 553. So why is he a good teammate for Carnage? One, you might want to have somebody to use red to deal more damage that doesn't hurt the teammates with Hulkbuster. You can also, if you have extra red, you can use Carnage's move first and then use Repulsor Punch so that you don't throw away more damage than you need to on one enemy. You also have the black Overdrive move, which since Carnage's black is passive, you'll have the AP from that you collect from that is going to go into here, and you can boost red up right away, and you get strike tiles, which will make the attack tiles do a lot more damage. And you have Hulk Proof, which will be putting up, although somewhat weak, but it'll be putting up some blue protect tiles that could at least take away some of the damage you're getting from all of the Carnage Animal Instinct tiles, the attack tiles that he's creating. And it can also give you more red. The other teammate that we've shown here, Kamala Khan. So she goes great. I would actually... This is how I currently have my own personal Kamala Khan setup, is at 535. Because you want to be negating the damage as much as possible from Carnage's attack tiles as well as his red move. So although you ideally would want more in purple, just if you want to use Kamala as a damage dealer, I think that nobody's going to bother fighting this team if you're in Shield, for example. It just says too much damage. There's too much of a chance that the characters are just going to keep healing up. You've got an actual active move that you can use with every color except for yellow. You've got red, black, and blue from Hulkbuster. You've got green and purple from Kamala Khan, and the green and red from Carnage. Black is the only color that's not active, but you still have a full rainbow in terms of match damage. This team is going to do really well. Even in PvE, I think it will do well. I'm going to show a match next. So I think this is the best team. Now, what about other potential teams that could be good? So, some people mentioned that because you want to get the maximum damage from Carnage's green, you would end up using him with Mohawk Storm, because she can flood the board with her attack tiles. So that sounds good, But first off, her health is so low that Carnage is going to kill her if he uses his red more than a couple times. And combine that with the attack tiles that are being created by Carnage with every move that's used, and Storm could die very quickly. She's going to have both green and yellow that she'll be taking damage from. She'll be tanking for. You are creating a lot of attack tiles, 32, so you will make the green potential from Carnage go up by a lot, but you can get one match off with them as teammates. So even though the symmetry would be good with the green from Carnage and the black from Storm, and you'll have two colors that are not being used, yellow and black from Storm. I still don't think that it's really a good idea using any character that has this little health without any healing capabilities. You could use her with Kamala Khan to make it work a bit better if you're, say, going up against a boss type enemy that is just one character that you want to dish out massive damage to. Otherwise, I would not use Mohawk Storm. Similarly, the argument could be made that Falcon would go great with Carnage, because he has his purple, which creates a bunch of shield tiles, Bird Strike. But nobody's going to actually have 5 in purple. Everybody wants maxed yellow and blue. So you're not going to get Carnage's green that much boosted from this. But at least you'll get the full rainbow coverage. And you will be doing inspiration to make your attack tiles a lot stronger. And you'll be getting rid of the enemy attack tiles pretty quickly. But still, he does have lower health. So I would maybe use them together, but not for more than one match again, just because of the lower health. Other characters that work well, I really don't think there's that many characters that... Carnage is not as much of a team player as a lot of the other characters. So, I mean, his team damage kind of makes his teammates somewhat irrelevant because you can only use them for 1 or 2 matches, except with Kamala Khan, just because of all the team damage. I see that I think that a lot of people in PvP are just going to be sending Carnage out there with a loner and some random character just to not worry about health packs and use his red as much as possible. But there's other teammates you can use, but I think that you can also use Nick Fury because you've got the yellow and the purple and the blue. So I think Nick Fury is a good potential teammate, and he does have more health. So I think Nick Fury could be a good teammate, and you also have, if you can actually get it off, and you have Escape Plan, which can dish out a huge strike tile, which combined with the attack tiles, again, is going to do huge damage. But Nick Fury's moves are such high AP, you won't get the same amount of attack tiles coming out from Carnage. So I think that's basically it for the main team-ups that I can imagine. There definitely are more out there, but I think those are the really only decent ones to consider. I would definitely highly recommend bringing Kamala Khan along just to get the healing. There's other ideas out there. You can bring tile characters that create strike tiles like Dakin, but I think that you just have to be very... And you can also have Dakin and Patch healing up every turn so that the damage done by Carnage's red and his attack tiles will not be as big of a deal. And so anyhow, so I think that that's the main listing, and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any additional character team-ups that you recommend, please share down below in the comments. And stay tuned, as I have another video following this one where I show Carnage in action.